Cycle Fever TV is brought to you by these great sponsors, so support them. Call Tough Turf for all your landscaping and irrigation needs. Check out Seminole Power Sports for all their brands of motorcycles, accessories, and service. DA's Cafe, where it's all happening. Bikes, cars, great food, rock and roll music. Come on by. USA Payroll, payroll tax service, workforce benefit solutions, insurance, and human resources. Check them out.
Okay, so we're live? All right, well, here we go. So, welcome everybody to the Ace Cafe and Porsche Night. We're super excited to be out here again and sharing the Porsche passion. And I think we've got two folks that have joined us tonight that are really going to have we're going to have a lot of fun with them. Kelly Zarni is with us, and she's got just the coolest car that's sitting behind us. She's going to tell us a little bit about that as we get into it. And we've got another guy coming on after that is just a great local guy. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight talking Porsche passion. So Kelly, first of all, Nancy Burgos, she connected us
right
just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm so happy that happened because, we had Nancy and Jane Scaletta on just a couple of months ago.
Right.
And we had ladies Porsche night, and that was really cool. So I think it's awesome that we're able to sort of continue that and get into some fun with you tonight. So I want to first of all just say thanks so much for bringing the car out. When we were pulling the car in just a little bit earlier, I think Kelly had about 5 different people telling her where to turn, where to pull it in, and she was just cracking up. She was like, okay, just tell me where to go. And we had a lot of fun with that. So again, thanks just for coming out, spending time with us, and sharing your car with us. But before we get to your car, I really want to just talk a little bit more about, how you ended up here. At this point in your life, how are you here with your car? Where did it all start with you and cars? How far back does this go?
That's a pretty interesting question because my love for cars and things that are four-wheeled and anything fast really started out when I was little. So let's talk about my daughter. She's 5. She loves going fast. I'm like, wow, okay. So every time I take her for a ride, she's like, go, go, go. And thinking back, I probably was the same exact way, right? I just didn't realize it. And my parents didn't have any fast cars back then. So that being said, when I was about 11 or 12, I got a go-kart. I got just a simple,
Briggs & Stratton go-kart.
Stratton go-kart.
Right?
And
no suspension, just a solid axle.
I had a teeter bar in the front. It was cool. And I drove the wheels off that thing, and from that point to where we are now, I would say that's probably the starting point.
Wow. So we're talking a long time ago. So just for an example, my Porsche passion started when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I don't know, I can't do math, but it was about 1972 or 73, right? And I had these little slot cars. And the slot car that came with my slot car track was the RC Cola 91730. Wow. Okay. So this just sort of blew my mind. I saw this car on this little track, and I just was mesmerized with it, from a very young age. And at that time, I was living in upstate New York, almost to the Canadian border, and all around us were all the circle tracks, dirt tracks, asphalt tracks. I watched modifieds, super modifieds, sprint cars. That's what I was raised around. My parents took me to the racetracks Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday nights. So I was raised around all that.
Grew up around racing,
and I grew up around that, and so, but that Porsche thing got in me way back then, and it's just never left. So it's kind of cool. We got a similar story. We're about the same age when we got involved in all this. So that's really cool. So 12 years old, you said?
Yeah, I was 11 or 12.
11 or 12. Okay, so when did you get your first sports car?
My first car was a Camaro, actually, which was passed down through the family or whatever.
Right.
Did my best with that, and then I got a E34 M5 as my second car.
The first step into German cars.
And the rest was history, because after that, I ended up getting an M Coupe, which is that's like the successor to, before you get into Porsche, you do the M car, and then the M Coupe was kind of like a 911, had the curves and all that. Fell in love with that, and then once I drove a Porsche, probably in the mid-2000s, somewhere in that range, when the 997 came out.
Oh, okay.
That was the first time I ever drove it. Yeah.
So
I was hooked.
The 997, what was so cool about that car, right, is that it brought back all the traditional styling of the 911. Like, the headlights came back. They kind of like all the people who, in the late 90s and into the early 2000s, you saw these new and different headlights in the 911s and the Boxsters. They were kind of like, oh, okay, I'm not sure about these. But then when Porsche said, you know what, we're going to come back with this style in the 997, and they brought back those lights that really look more like the classic Porsche.
Right.
It just sort of ignited a whole new movement with Porsche, I think. I think people just I think that was really the beginning of this ride that we're seeing now, where the brand is just so hot. People are so into it. And so that's cool. That
was the catalyst. And I had an E46 M3 at the time, and I remember coming home from the test drive and being like, wow. So then, a few years went by. I ended up getting a 997 Turbo.
Oh boy.
0.1.
Oh boy.
Tuned it to about 600 and something horsepower, and I was like, all right, this is fun. But then our friend Andreas invited me to this Porsche Roadshow, or Porsche.
Oh, the Porsche World Roadshow?
That one.
At Walt Disney World?
Walt Disney.
My wife and I were there.
Right.
We drove all the GTS cars.
Yes.
Right?
So I drove the Carrera 4 Targa. Carrera Targa. Right?
Yep.
And then drove a Boxster GTS.
Yep.
And the Cayman GTS. And the Targa felt huge and not very fast or nimble. So I was like, wow, if they only put a proper engine in the Cayman, this would be the best car in the world, right? And then
and it just happened. That was a lot of fun that day, wasn't it?
That was a blast.
That was, geez, what was that, about 4 years ago?
That was
something like that.
I'll tell you exactly when that was.
I still have the T-shirt.
That was exactly like it.
I still have the T-shirt. Right. Porsche World Roadshow. My wife and I, we went out there. We had a blast. We spent the whole day, and it was just, Porsche did things right that day. Inviting all of their customers in, letting them drive every GTS model on a track, right? And then at the end, you got a little. Do you remember what they did at the end? Okay.
Remind me.
Okay, so you drove all the cars, but then they put you in a car.
Oh, the 911 Turbo, yes.
Turbo, right?
So that was very impressive, because I was like, the capabilities of the 991 Turbo blew my mind. I was like, maybe I want this car. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a blast. Cool. What a fun day that was.
Really amazing. So eye-opening experience. So especially the little slalom course. Remember they had that in the center?
Oh, yeah.
So where the Targa 4 GTS or S would get through it, but it was it was a little bit of a lofty experience going through there. And then the GTS mid-engine cars, it was literally like a telepathic experience. And then I was like, this is. I love the power of my turbo, but this is the way I want to go.
That day, that was the first day I ever drove a PDK. Okay, and when I drove that car the first time, I thought to myself, it's over. You know, it's unbelievable. You have all of the folks that are Porsche purists, as they're called,
Right, yeah.
right, who love, you know, being able to shift the car and heel and toe and all that good stuff, right? But then when you drive that PDK, it's almost like an out-of-body experience, right? The first time that you're at speed, you're 120, 130 miles an hour, going down into a hard braking zone, and you're just listening to this going, what is going on here, right?
It knows what it's doing.
Yeah, it knows what it's doing, and it does it better than, you know, you could ever dream of doing it.
Yeah, I think I got yelled at a little bit because they're like, hold on, brake. I'm like, no, it's not time to brake yet, guys.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, a little unusual, right? So you're racing, right? So you're not racing Indy cars, but you're out there racing Porsche. You've been involved in several different series, whether it be SCCA or you said NASA.
Correct.
That you've been involved with. You know, the last show that we had here, it was a water cooled show, right? So we invited all the guys in with their 924s, 944s, 951s, and it was a blast. And we had 3 guys who were past national champions in PCA racing and in SCCA racing in their 944s. Kip Van Steenberg, who was at the runoffs the same time you were, I guess last year. So maybe just talk to us a little bit about how did you make the transition from just enjoying your sports car, driving out on the open road, you know, windows down, having fun, to saying, hey, I want to take this to a little different level. I want to get a little more serious about this. So how did that all start?
That's an interesting story there, Brian. In summary, I did a few autocrosses with my M Coupe back in the day.
Okay.
And long story short, I had some local friends which were like, hey, you should go somewhere where you could drive it, you know, really drive it.
Where you can really do it right.
Yeah, you could wheel it, you know. And
you don't have to worry about the cops.
Yeah, and the control, right, yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. So, long story short, that's when I first heard about a track event. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do that. So I ended up not taking my M Coupe to the track because that was my baby. I ended up taking someone else's advice, buying a Miata.
Oh, awesome.
So I got a 10th anniversary 99 Miata used, and it was already a little scratched up and whatever. And I'm like, this is great. I'll learn how to drive on this, and this will be awesome. So then, fast forward, I did 2-3 track events with that car, and the next thing I knew, I was completely hooked. You know, my first time at Roebling Road, I went into turn 1, and there was a 993 Cup car behind me with his evil eyes. I looked up, scared, like literally scared my pants off of me, and I lifted in the middle of the corner, spun right off the track. Never did that again.
That's how you learn. That's the best way to learn, right?
True, yeah. So from that point, I ended up meeting a buddy of mine through other cars. I had a Noble M400 at one time. And there was this other gentleman that had a Noble, and he did a full race version of the car, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely, yeah. Awesome cars. Mid-engine cars.
Amazing, lightweight, mid-engine.
Yep.
Definitely a bucket of parts, though, compared to a Porsche or something like that. But he invited me to, he was like, hey, come race with me. I've got an extra car. So I said, that sounds awesome. So I went to Laguna Seca to get my competition license. Went with Skip Barber when they were still big time. Got my comp license, then...
You got your comp license
at Laguna Seca.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we got to stop right there. So for folks who aren't really in tune to, you know, racing at all, right? Laguna Seca is probably one of the coolest racetracks anywhere, certainly in the United States. And there's one thing that sort of gets your attention there, and it's called the corkscrew, right?
Yeah.
So maybe talk to me about that. When you went through the corkscrew the first time and got it, like you figured it out and got through there, what was that like?
That was incredible. I say, yeah, it's a lot different than all the video games back then. Like
the video games don't show you the elevation.
no,
change,
the elevation.
right?
Yeah, you aim for the tree to the left. You see the coast, I believe, and then you just line it up, straighten it up, and go straight down. And you drop down into it.
Yeah.
So it was really incredible to be there and then experience it, because you can't translate that into a sim. I've got iRacing for obviously road racing practice, but it doesn't. The elevation does not translate at all.
So for everybody listening, iRacing is a way that you can do a simulated racing, right? But it's very realistic. It really helps you to prepare you to go to just about any track, and so you can jump right into that. So what was the first Porsche that you raced? Or was this it? No, it was.
No, I actually haven't raced much Porsche.
Okay.
Let me think. The first Porsche I ran on track, I think on my own. Yeah, I ran a bunch of Vipers and Corvettes and a bunch of other stuff. But Porsche-wise, nope. This is it.
This is the first one.
This is the first one I had on track.
On track, right. Okay. So last year, though, you were at SCCA Runoffs, so Sports Car Club of America Runoffs.
Right.
And that was a pretty special place. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yeah, incredible. So the SCCA Runoffs it's the largest amateur racing championship in the world. Last year we had 1,000 competitors at Indianapolis Motor Speedway
So on the Brickyard, and on the road course.
On the road course, yes. So, mind you, almost nobody's ever been there.
Right.
iRacing did not have the setup, so we had to...
couldn't practice.
We had to make shifts, cut corners in practice or whatever. And I went with one of the best race teams here, actually in Orlando, with a Toyota race team.
Okay.
So we show up. No one really knows us, especially up there, to a certain degree, and trained hard. Physical training. I do a lot of working out, obviously, and everything else, but I was training 5-6 days a week. I have a cart, Rotax race cart that I would train on, and this was an ongoing, training regimen for 2 months leading up to the championship. So we got there, never put one wheel on the track ever, and right out of the box got a top 10 qualifier.
Wow, so what a thrill that must have been.
It was incredible.
You're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where all the legends in motorsport have been there. I mean, you name them, right? And they've been there, or if they haven't been there yet, everybody, whether you're a Formula One driver, you're a sports car driver, you're a NASCAR driver, everybody wants to race at Indianapolis. So now you're there and having the time of your life. So what was the end result there? How did you guys finish up?
We had to overcome some adversity. So there's 4 qualifiers. We had couple little issues, mechanicals, and then my last qualifier, I was able to put down 1 fast lap, and in that lap, it was good enough for P5 overall, and then the rod threw, the engine threw a rod straight through the top of the motor.
Oh boy!
So that's how we entered in the crew. Mind you, this is a spec class. It uses pretty much a stock
spec
internal engine.
Oh, okay.
So they took my rental car, which is a Nissan Armada that I rented. I upgraded, and then they drove it from Anderson, Michigan, picked up a junkyard motor, brought it back, rebuilt the top end, put it in, tuned it the following day. Then the next day was race day. Fingers crossed that this junkyard motor would hold up. Needless to say, I was able to secure the second position in silver medal. So.
This is unbelievable. These are stories that you hear about racing teams that are sort of like, grassroots, sort of startup places, and the effort that's put in and the passion that's put in, right? It would have been very easy for you to say, okay, guys, we're done,
Right.
Engine's done, we're finished, okay, that's it. But instead, you say, no, let's go. And these guys drive somewhere, grab a motor, come back, rebuild it, work through the night.
Yeah, they work almost all night to make sure.
Who does that?
Right. They do.
Only guys that have the passion to do this can even begin to even, fathom the thought of doing this. So what an awesome story. First time to the Speedway.
First time in the runoff. So I was the first rookie female ever to stand on a runoffs podium.
Oh my gosh.
I've done a lot of racing, but never went to national level, and I trained hard, focused in on it, and then had the right team, the right car. Our engineer, which is he's a team owner.
Yep.
He works for Siemens here in Orlando, but he's the team engineer. And we pulled off some stuff that was incredible. And so first time at Indy, made a record.
I think you're spoiled. I think you're spoiled now, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, there's only one thing I can go for next time, and that'll be actually to win it. But
I'm sorry, but have you ever seen anything like that? We're looking outside, guys.
There's lime green.
There's always cars, that pull up here to get your attention, but that one just blew my mind. That's like a lime green, early 2000s Cayenne. I've never seen that. That's crazy. Sorry.
It matches the color of the exit sign.
Yeah, that just caught my attention. Okay, so let's talk about the future. So you've had a blast. You talked about go-karts. We talked about you getting involved in some other racing outside of Porsche. And now, so let's get to this car. Let's talk about how this came to be, because this car that's behind us, guys, this GT4 Cayman is a super special car, and the story behind this car, how it's sitting here, sort of how you decided to get it. So let's see if you can give us a little bit of a condensed version, but let us really feel the excitement and the passion behind this car and how it came to be.
Of course. So this was this GT4 here. Her nickname's Smurfette. Smurfette, right? So with the beautiful blue and the yellow accents, of course. It was a long time in the making. So there's actually a race team here in Florida, BGB Racing.
Oh yeah, up in Daytona.
Exactly, John TC and those guys.
Right.
They would build these monster Caymans with 911 engines. So I was this close to doing that with Andreas, which is a Porsche enthusiast. He's a fellow enthusiast, but he also used to work at Porsche of Orlando.
Sure, yeah.
So the only reason
we had Andre on our first show.
Right.
When we did the first Porsche show here, Porsche Night Show, Andreas came on with us.
I think I read it that night. That was incredible. Yes. He was talking about Tesla versus Porsche.
That's right. He got really passionate about that.
Tesla's not a sports car. Yeah, I get it for sure. So this car is the brainchild of Andreas ultimately, and because of his passion for the brand, and also being a wonderful friend. He's like, hey, I want to make this car happen for us, and I'm like, yes, let's do it. So what it is paint the sample. So it's a Riviera Blue, one of 3 that we're aware of globally.
Wow.
Which is pretty incredible.
Do you know how many were made? So this is a
2016.
2016. How many they built?
So it's the only model year that they've ever produced the GT4 thus far.
Yep.
The production numbers, from my understanding, is 2,500.
Okay.
So and there's about
a pretty rare car. This is
right. There's like less than 100. There's probably like 50 to 80 paint to sample cars, which is pretty special. And I was like, okay, I want to make it special and do a cool color. And so, long story short, my favorite phrase. This was really incredible because we were able to put every detail and feature together. And we started with a clean build sheet, and we're like, okay, what's going to make the ultimate GT4? So we left out no satellite radio, no navigation. Who needs all that stuff? I left a radio in it because it's not a full-blown race car.
Okay, we won't hold that against you. That's fine.
10 pounds of wiring in there.
That's all right.
So we're like, anything that makes it go fast or lose weight. So we did the carbon brakes from the GT3 and came from the 918, I believe, program. And then same thing with the seats. So the carbon bucket seats went on back order 3 times. So it took a year and a half from the time we went on the wait list to the time we put an order in and everything else to delivering the car was a year and a half. And Andreas kept talking and massaging like his contacts at Porsche exclusive. Right?
Okay.
And they kept pushing our build out so we can get the seats, so we can get the paint
Everything you
sample
wanted
cover
perfectly.
locked in, and once that was locked in, right? So the trifecta was a GT4 paint to sample with the carbon bucker seats and European delivery. So this was a dream of mine. Owning a bunch of different BMW M cars, one previous Porsche, right, that totally sold me on the brand.
Right.
To do European delivery. But Porsche's a little challenging, especially with the GT cars, and you can't get delivery in the frozen tundra of Europe in November, December, January, in the middle of the winter. So somehow Andreas, we're like, oh, we gave up on that dream completely. We're not gonna do it. It's not gonna work out. It's not for us, right? Not gonna happen. No problem. We're expanding our family at the time, and I'm like, okay, we're busy enough. And then the Porsche Angel came into play.
The magic in Orlando is just a magical city, right?
Yes, of course.
The Walt Disney magic.
Right.
Some pixie dust came down.
We got the Orlando magic, Tinkerbell, all of them came together. And then we ended up getting the build pushed out to the spring. We're like, awesome, that's great. So then the build got pushed out farther. And I'm like, well, okay. So, long story short, my wife was having a baby exactly in the end of March, right? So my father, which isn't in the cars, he ended up joining me on a European delivery trip in June, flew out together, took delivery in Stuttgart, went down to the Black Forest, which is like this incredible forest in Germany, drove the Swiss Alps in Switzerland, Austria, then went back to Germany.
Awesome. So those pictures that you sent me, all that stuff, we're showing them to folks, I think, on the show now to be able to see that. So.
And Nürburgring to finish it off.
Oh, so.
But there's the cherry on top is we finished it off. We had the option of going to Le Mans the following weekend or the Goodwood Festival of Speed. So ended up going to Goodwood because Le Mans was going to be a bit of a stretch to fit in everything. So we went to Goodwood for 2 days, for the weekend. And that was an incredible experience.
Awesome. Well,
so
you know what? It's
that's
just
the story behind it.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, what's so cool is that you had a dream, you had someone by your side, helping you along the way, and like they say in racing, right? You need a little luck. And it sounds
sometimes a lot.
And it sounds like things came together. So, you know what? It's just been so much fun talking to you. I can feel your energy. I can feel your passion, for motorsports. I can feel your passion for Porsche. We really appreciate you coming in and sharing that with us tonight and bringing in your beautiful car. I know that, a lot of folks, when they have very special cars like this, they're very particular about them. But what I love about it is you drove it out here. You're bringing you sent me a text. You're on your way. You're hauling over here. You're super excited. So just thanks so much for coming in and seeing us. And we hope to see you again, out at more Porsche events in the area. And we wish you all the best, with this car and future track days and all your racing in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in. All right, guys. It's so nice to see you. All right, so we got a little piece now that we're going to show you, spreading a little bit more fun from the 70th anniversary of Porsche that took place just a couple of months back, or a month and a half ago. And so we're going to show you that piece now, and then we're going to roll in our second guest, which is a pretty cool guy, Gary Meredith, from here in Orlando. So let's go ahead and roll that piece. All right, so it's been an awesome day out here at Porsche of Orlando, celebrating the 70th anniversary of Porsche. And what better way than to celebrate it with my wife, Leslie? So she's joining us here today to talk a little bit about it. So why don't you tell everybody, Leslie, why did you come out here? Other than I said, hey, will you come out here with it? Why is the 70th anniversary of Porsche such a cool thing for you?
Well, it's pretty cool because we've been looking at Porsches for a long time. I fell in love with a 911. It was yellow at a driver's thing that you had done at Sebring back when we were in college, and it's just been in my blood and our blood ever since then. So pretty cool to come out here and celebrate that.
All right, so awesome. Well, there's nothing better than being able to spend time with your friends on the weekend. And there's some other friends passing right behind us. Every good man has a great woman by his side, And I couldn't do all this stuff with Porsche Night and all these fun times without you, Les, so I really appreciate you and all your support that you've given me over the years. So I hope everybody's enjoyed the show for today out here at the 70th anniversary celebration. Porsche of Orlando was very gracious and giving us an opportunity to come out here. We look forward to seeing everybody out at the Ace Cafe for Porsche Night this month and for many months ahead. So it's a wrap. This is what it's all about on Saturday in Orlando and Central Florida with Porsche. Great.
The Ace is simply the most famous motor diner on the planet. Born in 1938 in London, England, it was notorious as a place for teenage rockers to hang out on motorbikes. Here in Orlando today, this is the first Ace Cafe in the USA. We're a restaurant, a bar, a concert hall, a place to shop. Basically, we're a gathering place for anybody who likes bikes, cars, and rock and roll.
When builders around this area need landscaping, they turn to Tough Turf Incorporated. Why? Because Tough Turf has been providing landscaping, irrigation, lawn maintenance, and lighting to residential and commercial builders and even homeowners associations for more than 20 years. As a family-owned business, we take great pride in making sure our employees approach each and every job with an exceptional level of experience, quality, and integrity. Tough Turf. When it comes to landscaping, nobody's tougher.
Fast fun, Seminole Power Sports. Number one in fast fun, Seminole Power Sports.
There's a whole lot of opportunity out there, and as the owner of your own business, that's what you need to be focusing on. Not payroll, hiring, and compliance. That's what we do. We're USA Payroll, and we started our business in 1994. So we've been there. We understand the growing pains and the not enough hours in the day that come with owning a business. So let us provide you with another opportunity. Help. We're USA Payroll, keeping your business in check.
Everybody, so we got one out, we're bringing another one in, so just bear with us. This is what we do, we get them in and out like this. So as you see, you'll see the other one coming into frame. Everybody's directing it there, and we'll be ready to go, so just stick with us.
Porsche, and we have Greg and Jennifer Barrows with us, and they're sharing an extremely special Porsche with us. You won't see a car like this hardly ever anywhere, so we wanted to bring you guys on and tell us a little about. So this is an awesome Porsche family. Jennifer's been involved with Porsche for many years with the Porsche Club of America, and Greg has been involved also racing his car with Porsche Club of America. So a perfect time to join in the celebration. So before we start, why did you guys come out here? What is so special about Porsche's 70th anniversary that made you want to bring out your beautiful little car?
Well, from my perspective, the anniversary is a chance to just get the car out, first of all.
Okay.
We've gotten to the point where we kind of protect this one, since you already mentioned it's very special. So it's a great opportunity to get the car out on a beautiful day like this and come out and share it with everybody.
Okay, awesome. How about you, Greg? What does this celebration mean to you?
Well, it's a celebration of all Porsches for 70 years. So we have a sort of a pretty good lineup here from early years all the way to the newer ones, and we got all the new ones inside the dealership. So
we got a chance to speak
we have a, and you know, they make more than the 911, which we all love. But, there's other beautiful examples here of cars. So I'm just glad we could join in.
Yeah, and we got some great sunshine.
Something a little unique.
Some great sunshine today for the event here, right?
It's definitely
okay, so tell us a little bit about this vehicle. Let everybody know why this one's so special.
Well, the car was actually ordered by a doctor out in Vail, Colorado, and the color is a paint to sample, technically. It's a Porsche color, but it wasn't available on the 968, the year that this car was made, which was 1993. This was actually a 911 color called Tahoe Blue.
Taco Blue?
Like
Tahoe Blue.
Like Lake Tahoe.
All right, awesome.
So
I can see that. I've been to Lake Tahoe, and that water is fantastic.
So Tahoe Blue is the color, and it does have that special designation of 999, paint to sample. And so it's been around, you know, a little bit, but I'll let Greg talk about how he found it and when he went.
Okay, so he's the one who's always finding the cool cars. I know he just found
the
cool
car.
So where did you find
I did not realize it was that cool car when I found it, to be honest. As she said, the doctor bought it, and then a guy bought it in Crown region, up in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
But he bought it, built it into a race car.
Oh, my goodness.
Coupes were so hard to find.
Oh, wow.
So he buys it and goes, I can't do this to this car. So he flips it to a young lady in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Her husband was a big racer, and so they buy it. It's her car. She actually did a couple of DEs in it, and they split. New husband doesn't like the car because it reminds him of something else.
Insert you.
Insert me. I fly on a one-way ticket up to D.C. They pick me up at the airport. We go. I take it for a ride. I go to a local shop, and they're like, it's good.
Solid.
So I wrote a check and drove it home. It was great until it got dark, and I went, I don't know where everything is in a 968 because I had a 911 at the time.
Awesome.
So
what a great story.
it's good. And then I did not know about paint to sample.
They found that all later.
Really one of one in the country.
Wow.
We had no idea until we did some research.
Isn't it great when that happens?
That was beautiful.
It's great when that kind of thing happens.
It's a limited slip car, which is rare to find.
Awesome.
You know. So
what year did you buy it?
We bought it in 03. We've had it
2003.
Yeah, 2003.
Awesome.
We've got 15 years.
Well, cool. Well, hey guys, I know you got a lot of other things, a lot of other folks to talk here. Thanks so much for coming out and talking to us. You're in this beautiful car with us, all right?
Thank you.
Nice to see you guys.
Appreciate it.
All right. So it's been an awesome day out here at Porsche of Orlando, celebrating the 70th anniversary of Porsche. And what better way than to celebrate it with my wife, Leslie? So she's joining us here today to talk a little bit about it. So why don't you tell everybody, Leslie, why did you come out here? Other than I said, hey, will you come out here with it? Why is the 70th anniversary of Porsche such a cool thing for you?
Well, it's pretty cool because we've been looking at Porsches for a long time. I fell in love with a 911. It was yellow at a driver's thing that you had done at Sebring back when we were in college, and it's just been in my blood and our blood ever since then. So pretty cool to come out here and celebrate that.
All right, so awesome. Well, you know, there's nothing better than being able to spend time with your friends on the weekend. And there's some other friends passing right behind us. You know, every good man has a great woman by his side, and I couldn't do all this stuff with Porsche Night and all these fun times without you, Les, so I really appreciate you and all your support that you've given me over the years. So I hope everybody's enjoyed the show for today out here at the 70th anniversary celebration. Porsche of Orlando was very gracious and giving us an opportunity to come out here. We look forward to seeing everybody out at the Ace Cafe for Porsche Night this month and for many months ahead. So it's a wrap. This is what it's all about on Saturday in Orlando and Central Florida with Porsche. All right, we're back with more Porsche Night from Ace Cafe tonight, and you can see that the team worked very quickly to get our GT4 out, and we've pulled in a beautiful 911 GT3. And our friend Gary Meredith has joined us. So Gary, it's so nice to have you in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I'm glad that you said yes. You know, when you got the call, you know, you didn't hesitate, you said yes. So we really appreciate that. And we really appreciate you bringing the car out because it is a very special car. And I know, you know, sometimes it's a little bit particular about where you want to take it or what you want to do, so it's awesome that you brought it out here and we have it tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit first. I want to let people know who aren't familiar with what you've been doing in the local community for car guys and car gals, I'll call them, you know, for a number of years. And I know we spoke a little bit earlier about your Cars and Coffee. It's called Cars and Coffee Orlando, correct?
Right.
Okay, so this is out in Ocoee, and this is at your place of business, which just happens to be an awesome plaza with a great coffee shop, House Blend Coffee Shop. So couldn't be a better setting to have a Cars and Coffee on a Saturday. So is this the third Saturday?
Yeah, third Saturday of every month.
Third Saturday of every month.
Yep, and probably been doing it for 6 or 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, so I know when we spoke earlier, I was like, do you know exactly how long? Because it's the longest running Cars and Coffee event in Orlando for sure. And when I asked you, you know, you said, you know, I'm not really sure. And I love the answer because, you know what, that just tells me that you're just passionate about cars and you love talking to people about cars and sharing stories. And, you know, you give your place on that third Saturday of every month just for people to come and have fun. And it's not all about Porsche there, although I know Porsche runs deep with you and you have, you know, great attraction to the brand and great loyalty to the brand of Porsche, but you just love car guys. I mean, I've talked to guys out there with Chevys, with Nissans, with Fords, with Rolls Royces to hot rod. I mean, everything comes out there. So maybe talk to us a little bit about how did that idea come to be? What made you want to have a Cars and Coffee event?
Well, the first one was actually a Porsche Club event.
Okay.
And it was largely because there were a lot of things going on in the Citrus region, you know, in Maitland, South Seminole County. There wasn't a lot for people that were in the southwestern part of the metro area.
Okay.
So first one was for that reason, really. But I had other things going on too. I was on the board of directors of the cafe, which is a nonprofit, and their slowest days are Saturdays. Okay. So we kind of brainstorming about what can we do to get the Saturday sales up.
Awesome.
So they've got at least one good Saturday a month now.
And you know what?
They love the Cars and Coffee people.
And you know what? The staff in House Blend and just the whole feel in that place. I mean, it's just awesome. They do a great job. You know, you can tell they're just enjoying what they do. The coffee is awesome. The food's awesome. It just couldn't be a better situation. So I'm so glad to hear that, you know, put a little spike in the business for them.
Yep, it does. I checked today. They had a really good Saturday.
All right. Well, that's awesome. We're sorry we didn't make it. We were up in Gainesville. We have 2 daughters up in school up there, and so we were up there moving them into a new apartment. So I'm sorry we weren't able to make it this time, but hopefully next month we'll get back out there. So that's how it started. It was really a PCA event to get started, and then how did it attract all these other car guys? I mean, like I said, I have literally seen just about every other make and manufacturer of car at your event over the last 3 or 4 years that I've been going. So how did that happen?
Well, one of the other reasons for doing it in the first place was I'm a State Farm agent, and I have to go and look. I've got a lot of collector cars insured, and I have to go look at them every 3 years, take photos, see what kind of shape they're in, and I'd go back and people hadn't moved them at all. So that was partly the rationale, was to get people to get the cars out. So that's how it got a little eclectic that way, just because it's kind of it's across the range, antiques, muscle cars, sports cars, everything.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of drove the variety that you see.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was just me putting a Cars and Coffee card on a car at Home Depot or wherever I'd see something that was interesting, and it probably got curated at least partly through my tastes. What I found interesting, I would put a Cars and Coffee card on it and then invite them out.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was maybe the first or second event that I came out to your place, and you had your Corvair. And I know it's a little bit of a sore story right now with the Corvair. As with the first event I came, I brought my 914.6 conversion car. And so right now, Gary and I are both a little bit sad because we've got engine problems with my 914.6 and with your Corvair, but that's okay. I remember seeing that car, and it is such a beautiful car.
Bed air-cooled stuff.
Right? So, did you have a Porsche first or a Corvair first?
Oh no, my first car was a Corvair, $100 Corvair in college. So,
wow. So that sort of led you to the air-cooled Porsche.
Well, I'd say probably as life circumstances enabled it, yes.
Well, that's awesome. So, really, it's just sort of like a grassroots thing, just getting more and more people to think about bringing their cars out. And I think now it's one of those deals where, on a Saturday morning, if you're driving on Highway 50 and there's a lot of traffic that rolls by there, and you're sort of looking over there going, hey, what's going on over there? Because literally, it's not only your lot, but it's down the street, it's around the corner. And look at this. Ian from the PCA is helping us out tonight. See?
Does this go to England?
Definitely.
Is there internet in England?
We do. We've got electricity now. With the times, thanks to Donald Trump and his taxes.
Wow, that's awesome. Ian was, if you follow, Ian is awesome, right? He works a lot with, he's like the social chair, I think, with the PCA.
Best autocross announcer ever.
Awesome, right? Just full of life, loves to have a blast. And if you follow our shows at all, Ian was our first international correspondent. He sent us reports from the Le Mans 24-hour this year. Just an awesome job. And so, you know what? He did such a great job that we brought him back tonight, and he's been out here before with us. And we just got to bring everybody involved that we can.
He has free reign.
Free reign. That's right. So, back to the Cars and Coffee. Literally a cross-section of cars. So for people who are interested in sharing their Porsche passion, they can come out, or they can just bring any hot rod car they want, right? So
anything.
Talk a little bit about how you got involved with Porsche. I know that not only do you have this beautiful 2007 911 GT3, but you also have a 944. And talk a little bit about what you've done with that car. And you've done some racing with that, I understand, and you're having fun with that piece too.
Yeah, it's an 89 944 S2 that I've owned for over 20 years. It was a street car, my daily driver for a long time, and then autocrossed it with SCCA nationally for a long time, and then turned it into a race car about 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
Which everyone told me not to do, and now I know why.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta, you can't listen to them. You just gotta go for it, right? And I know your son is a car guy too, right? You told me about his business last week, and he's helped you along with a lot of these projects, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I had both the boys and probably even their little sister in the garage a lot when they were young.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. So I understand. So he runs a business now. We'll give him a little shameless plug. Christian Brothers.
Right. Christian Brothers Claremont, which Christian Brothers is a large Texas auto repair franchise. They don't have much presence in Florida yet, but he's been in operation for about 4 years, doing really well.
Isn't that cool? So it's great. You brought your son along in cars, and he's got a great business with it. So what can be better? And you got a free lift now, right? unless it's full.
Actually, I delayed adding a lift to my house, thinking that I was going to have access to his 9 lifts, and he's so busy I can't.
Well, that's a good problem
to
have.
An appointment.
That's a good problem to have. You'll take that all day long, right?
Yep.
Right. So you've raced the 944. How did this car come along? So how long have you owned this GT3?
About 3 years.
Okay.
And I really bought it because I'm still doing a lot of SCCA autocrossing, and it's a competitive car in the class that it runs in. And I'd been driving just about the whole time I've autocrossed really low horsepower cars. So I decided, why don't we double the horsepower on something?
Right.
And it was shocking to get used to that amount of torque and horsepower, but it's been fun.
You've had a lot of fun with it. So has it just been events all around Florida that you've gone with it, or have you gone out of state with it?
I don't think I did take this one out of state. The other cars that I've autocrossed have gone all the way to Kansas and all up in the Northeast. Used to run the pro circuit back in the 80s and 90s.
Wow. So that's been fun. I know I've seen some pictures that you've had out there. You got a trailer for your car. You got the 944. I mean, you're pretty serious about, when you go on the road and take it somewhere, you got all the right stuff to get the job done.
Yeah, and it's a big operation. Nothing like the guys that are doing road racing for a living, but still, it's hard work, really.
It is. You really have to be passionate about it and dedicated to it, and to put it all together and to make it happen. So, what are the plans for the future? So maybe 2 things. What are the plans of the future for Cars and Coffee? Is there anything coming down the pike that you're thinking about any differently or anything like that? Or is it just going to be sort of the same deal? And then maybe talk a little bit about, the future with the GT3.
No, nothing really large. We really ought to do name tags. It's getting a little difficult to figure out, who everybody is. A lot of the guys refer to each other by, well, that's the guy with the blue T-Bird, or that's the guy with the silver 911.
Right, or the Woody, that guy who comes out with the Woody with the surfboards and all that. That thing's awesome.
Or the twin-engine Cadillac Eldorado convertible. That one makes a statement too.
That is awesome. So you guys, you heard him right. This is the Cadillac Eldorado that has 2 V8 engines in it. One in the front in the normal place, and then one behind the rear seat. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. It's quite a piece to see.
It is.
I've never seen it run. It's always just static there. So I got to get up there one time and actually see him pull in and leave.
I would like to see how he operates the throttles on both when they're both running. I don't know. Sounds bizarre to me.
Well, it's always great fun. All right. Well, we're going to continue to support you in your Cars and Coffee and encourage everyone to keep coming out there. It's a blast. So how about the future for the GT3? Just going to keep autocrossing and having fun with it?
It's for sale.
It's for sale?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next? What's the plan?
I don't know. Probably I've had offers to trade it on a couple of air-cooled things, older air-cooled things.
Okay, so a little throwback time.
Maybe.
Okay, awesome. Well, I have another friend that had a turbo 911, like almost brand new one, and he's sort of gotten rid of that. Ken? And he's gotten rid of that. Now he's got a 356, and he just bought a Carrera, a 911 Carrera. So he's sort of going old school too. So maybe it's time for you to do it as well.
Well, the clock's ticking. If you have a list, you got to get working at the list.
That's right. All right. Well, you know what? Again, I wanted to thank you so much for coming out and saying yes to doing this. I hope you had a little bit of fun with this.
I did. Thanks, Brian.
It's always a fun night out here at Ace Cafe. So much fun. Great food and drink, and so many fun people. You meet new people out here every week. So I just want to thank you so much for coming out again, and we look forward to seeing you out in Nicoe.
Thanks.
All right, great. So guys, we're just going to talk a little bit about a few things that are happening in the Porsche world right now. One this week out in Pebble Beach, out in Monterey, is the big Concours d'Elegance in Pebble Beach. There's some huge auctions, and the folks at RM Sotheby's, which they put on a big auction at Pebble Beach every year, they sent me some books here in the last couple of weeks. So I got to see all of the cars that are going on auction. Okay, so I saw a 550 Porsche, They say that it's going to go for about $4.5 to $6 million. I saw that one in there. And then the one that blew my mind out was a Ferrari that they're expecting that's going to bring anywhere from $45 to $60 million for a single car. So a lot of cool things going on in the Porsche world and in the Ferrari world. But that is a huge event for car guys all over the country. A lot of Porsche guys come to Monterey, and that's coming up this weekend. And then next month, it's going to be Rennsport Reunion again. And we've had Rennsport Reunion here in Daytona, but now it's been pretty regular out in California. That's going to happen at the end of next month. So a lot of things going on in the Porsche world. The brand is hot, and then all of these cool events that are going on as well. So, you know, we just love sharing the Porsche passion with everybody. So again, thanks for coming in, and I think we got John or something who's going to come down and help us to close out the show. So again, we appreciate you coming on in.
Thanks, Brian.
So it's great to see you.
You too.
All right, John. So what do you got for us, Crazy John?
Thank you. I got to say happy birthday. My aunt's
He's a big guy. He's a tall guy.
Big guy.
Yeah, that's right.
What's going on, buddy? I just want to say a happy birthday to my aunt, 78 today, and she's
78.
watching.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rose.
What's her name?
Rose Cheney.
Aunt Rose?
Yes, Aunt Rose.
All right, well, happy birthday to Aunt Rose. And what else? Is that it?
Hey,
Happy birthday to Aunt Rose.
Yeah, happy birthday. How you doing, buddy? Hey, you're doing a hell of a job out there, buddy.
I do try. It's difficult. It's very warm out there, but it's also very, very enjoyable. Actually, looking at the cars and working out what colour wheels are the best and why you should not buy a grey car. Seriously, I'm not quite sure about it, but watch the previous video to find out more.
Wait, he said you shouldn't buy a great car. Look at the one I'm looking at right now. That thing's great.
So he's trying to get you into a Porsche?
Oh, check it out.
No, that's our
Show the folks at home. Show the folks at home.
There you go.
There it is, right there.
Where is it?
Is it this camera over here?
Camera 2.
Okay, here we'll go to this one.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
All right, guys. Well, again, thanks for joining us at Porsche Night. We really appreciate it. Ian, thanks so much for coming out and having fun with us.
Pleasure.
Going through the lot. John, that's it for Porsche Night tonight. We'll see you next week, next month, guys.